Your college roommate just posted their house on Instagram. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, a backyard with a fire pit. They're 25 years old. The caption says, "Homeowner at 25, dreams do come true." And you're sitting there thinking you're behind in life. Wrong. Dead wrong. That Instagram post is a financial crime scene, and I'm about to show you exactly where the bodies are buried. I'm Sam, and I've performed forensic audits on hundreds of young homeowner situations. What I'm about to show you isn't opinion, it's math. And the math reveals something brutal that nobody's posting on social media. Let's start with the first lie by omission. That 25-year-old self-made homeowner, they almost certainly didn't make it themselves. According to the National Association of Realtors, 40% of homebuyers under 30 receive gift money for their down payment. Not a few $100. The average gift is $30,000. That's not a head start. That's a different race entirely. Here's the math they're not showing you. On a $350,000 house, a 10% down payment is $35,000. If someone handed them $30,000, they only saved $5,000 themselves. That's a 600% advantage over someone saving the full amount alone. I'm not saying don't take family money if it's offered. Use every advantage available. But when they post about making it happen without mentioning the $50,000 wedding gift from grandma or the zero-interest family loan, you're comparing yourself to a rigged game. Now here's where it gets brutal. Because even with help, most 25-year-old homeowners are financially drowning. They're just drowning in a house they own. Let me introduce you to the 28% rule. Your total housing costs shouldn't exceed 28% of your gross income. That's the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, all of it. Banks use this because beyond 28%, you enter what I call the suffocation zone. Here's the reality for a typical 25-year-old buyer. The median salary with a bachelor's degree at 25 is about $55,000. At 28%, that's $1,280 per month for housing. Now, let's run the actual numbers. A $350,000 house with 10% down at 7% interest, your mortgage payment alone is $2,100. Add property taxes at $350, insurance at $150, and HOA fees at $200. Your total monthly housing cost is $2,800. That's 61% of their gross income. Not their take-home pay, their gross income. They're not homeowners, they're house prisoners with a mortgage ankle monitor. But wait, stop, because it gets so much worse. Let me show you what I call the amortization autopsy. This is where we dissect exactly where that $2,100 monthly mortgage payment actually goes. In month 1 of that 30-year mortgage, you send the bank $2,100. How much of your house did you actually buy? About $400. The other one, $1,700? That's an interesting vapor. Unrecoverable. Gone forever. 88% of your payment is renting money from the bank. For the first 20 years of a 30-year mortgage, you aren't an owner. You're the bank's most profitable tenant, cosplaying as a homeowner on Instagram. Your 25-year-old friend isn't posting their amortization schedule. They're posting their aesthetic living room while eating ramen because 61% of their income disappears into housing costs every month. Here's the third thing they're not telling you, and this one's a financial massacre waiting to happen. When you rent, your landlord owns all the problems. Toilet breaks? Not your problem. Roof leaks? Not your problem. HVAC dies? Annoying, but not your extraction machine. When you own a house, every problem is now a wealth extraction event. And these events are expensive and inevitable. The industry standard is 1% to 2% of your home's value annually for maintenance. On a $350,000 house, that's $3,500 to $7,000 per year in unrecoverable costs. But that's just an average. Reality doesn't care about averages. Your HVAC system dies in August? $6,000. Your roof needs replacement? $15,000. Foundation issues? $20,000. Plumbing emergency at 2 a.m.? $2,500. $500. These aren't if scenarios, they're when scenarios. And when you're 25, living in the suffocation zone at 61% housing costs, you don't have an extra $6,000 sitting around. So these emergencies go on credit cards at 22% interest. Now you're paying interest on your emergency repairs on top of the interest vapor you're already sending the bank every month. That friend who bought it at 25, they're not posting about the $4,500 water heater replacement that just went on their Discover card. They're posting their painted accent wall that they DIY'd to save money. Now let me show you the fourth truth, and this might be the most expensive one. Stop. If a professional investor told you to put 100% of your net worth into a single asset in one zip code with a 10% transaction tax just to get your money out, you'd call them insane. So why do we call it the American dream? Because that's exactly what buying at 25 means. You're locking your liquid capital into dead equity. That money is now trapped in a wall where it cannot earn dividends, cannot be rebalanced, and cannot be used for opportunities. It's a prison of illiquidity. And at 25, your greatest financial asset isn't a deed, it's optional. By buying young, you are effectively shorting your own mobility. LinkedIn data shows people change jobs 4 times in their 20s. The biggest salary jumps come from switching companies and relocating. But you can't relocate, you're anchored. Dream job offer in another state with a $50,000 raise? The renter leaves in 30 days? You have to pay a 6% exit tax. That's $21,000 in realtor fees alone just for the privilege of moving for your career. List the house. I hope it sells. I hope the market didn't crash. Pay $21,000 in transaction costs. Move. Find housing at your destination. All while your friend who kept renting just got a 40% raise by taking a job across the country. You would need your house to appreciate by 6% just to break even on the move. In a flat market, you just paid $21,000 to leave. That's not ownership. That's financial imprisonment with extra steps. Here's the fifth thing nobody mentions. Let me introduce you to the 7% rule. Not all real estate builds wealth. Real estate only creates value if it appreciates faster than your opportunity costs. Here's how you calculate it. Take that $350,000 house, multiply by 7%, that's $24,500 per year, divide by 12, that gives you $2,041 per month. This is your unrecoverable cost floor. This includes mortgage interest, that's vapor, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, opportunity cost of your down payment not being invested. If you can rent a comparable house for less than $2,041, you aren't throwing money away. You're buying your freedom at a discount while your homeowner friend pays a premium to mow their own lawn. And here's what really happens to that 25-year-old buyer. They buy what they can afford, where they can afford it. Maybe it's a condo in a neighborhood that's up and coming but actually stays mediocre for a decade. Maybe it's a house in the suburbs when they'd rather be downtown. National average appreciation is 4% per year. But that's an average. Some areas grow at 8%, some stay flat or decline. If you bought in the wrong location because you felt pressure to buy young, you might own an asset that barely keeps pace with inflation while being trapped by the exit tax. 5 years later, you want to upgrade. Your house is barely appreciated. You've barely paid down principal because it's all been interest vapor. After paying closing costs and realtor fees, you've broken even or lost money. Now you're 30, wanting to upgrade, but you have no equity for a better down payment. You would have been better off renting, investing the difference in index funds at 10% annual returns, and buying the right house when you were actually ready. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sam, should nobody buy young? No, I'm saying it's not the universal win that Instagram makes it look like. Buying at 25 makes sense if you meet all of these conditions. You're in a stable career in a city you plan to stay in for 7+ years. You have a real emergency fund, not just your down payment. Your housing costs are under 28% of gross income. You're buying in an area with strong growth fundamentals, not just buying anywhere because you feel pressure. But if you're 25 and don't own a house, you might actually be making the genius play without realizing it. You have optionality. You're not suffocating at 61% housing costs. You're not trapped by the exit tax. You're not house poor eating instant noodles in your beautiful kitchen. You're not the bank's favorite tenant pretending to be an owner. Building wealth isn't about following someone else's timeline. It's not about checking boxes because Instagram told you to. Some people buy at 25 and it works. Some buy at 25 and by 28 they're trapped in a house they can't afford in a city they want to leave, bleeding money through interest vapor and unexpected repairs. The question isn't should I buy young? The question is do the forensics support buying in my specific situation right now? So here's what you need to do. Run the numbers. Calculate your actual unrecoverable cost floor using the 7% rule. Perform an amortization autopsy on any mortgage you're considering. Factor in the exit tax if you might move within 7 years. If you're 25 and own a house, be honest about what that really costs. Don't just post the highlight reel while your budget is a disaster behind the scenes. And if you're 25 without a house, stop feeling behind. You might be ahead. You're choosing sovereignty over suffocation. You're choosing optionality over dead equity. And that might be the smartest financial decision you'll make in your 20s. The harsh truth is that Instagram is making you feel bad about decisions that are actually strategic play. Stop comparing your financial reality to someone else's curated fiction. You're not behind. You're running a different race with different advantages. And that's exactly where you should be. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, drop a comment with your thoughts. And if you'd like to know more about real estate, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.